on the source.
They're desperate to me. At this point, they're going to pick anybody they can to try to keep the oppressive, restrictive dictatorship that they have going.
Good evening. This is Dr. Curry.
This is Kobe Owens.
Shané Darby.
And welcome to The Source. It is always a joy and a privilege to come to you all every week so that we can talk about the various things that are happening in and around our city. This week, we continue to start off our show with talking about, the shootings that may have occurred or any murders that may have occurred over the last week. And we saw right in my back door, right down the street, 1 block from the church, a brother of 25 years old, was found shot. Any more information on that?
Yeah, so it happened in the 1200 block of B Street, right around the corner from where we're filming this show at right now. 25-year-old male victim who was suffering from a gunshot was transported to the hospital. He was transported in stable condition, and because he is still with us, there has been no additional details given on the ongoing investigation that is looking into what led to this shooting.
Now, do we have cameras throughout the city to really start looking at some of these crimes or some of these shootings that occur, or spotters, shots or whatever?
Shot
spotters. Do we have that in the city?
We have both. So we have the shot spotters where they hear the sounds and they're able to pinpoint where shots are. And we also have cameras throughout the city. I forgot how many or where they are, but we do have them, and there is a review committee where you can make a submission for where you would like a camera to be, and then it's really ran under the mayor administration. So for them to make a decision on if they'll put a camera there. So there are cameras, there are the sharp spotter system. I did a tour of Wilmington PD and was able to go into the room on where they're doing all of this monitoring at. It was like all these screens on the wall. So they are doing it, right? So it is happening. And then I know City Council, in regards to like gun violence stuff, we did the whole New Jersey thing, as we talked about before, where we had a consultant come and they talked about and help us establish the foundation to hopefully one day having a violence prevention unit center, or like some type of thing dealing with violence prevention in our city. So I know those things are happening. Those teams are on the ground doing the work. I know Wolfie, he's big in the community. He's a part of it. Network Connect. There's different organizations who are doing violence prevention on the streets, some community-based level.
Do everybody ever come together to talk about any progress or regress that we have?
Yeah, so there's community public safety meetings that they have. I think they are on Tuesdays or either Mondays, because it's a night I teach, so I can never go. But they do have them, and I can get the information for the community public safety meetings that they do have to give updates on where they are and what they're doing to address public safety in the city. So that is an initiative that was through City Council, but currently it's only funded through ARPA funds. ARPA funds we have to spend, I think, by 2024. So City Council, this budget hearing, has to put money towards it. And in New Jersey, they take 3% of their public safety budget to run their Office of Violence Prevention. And for us to run the same thing, we're going to have to take money from public safety, I think, to continue it. But let's see what happens.
Yeah, well, the reason why I'm bringing it up, and I'm glad you were able to give us so much information, is because it seems like we're not stopping with the shootings, and some of them are not even being reported. it's just so happened, we get a chance to, hear from sometime the News Journal or News Break or things of that nature to be able to share some of these shootings. But for this to happen right in this community or whichever community it is, I just wonder sometime if people are just getting together and bringing some resolution to it. Or what is the plan? Because I think when we first started our show, we talked about give us a plan and let's see a plan so we know how we're addressing it. But it seems like everything is very reactive.
It is. I hope that the city council does come through and put the money that's needed towards this project. Wolfie is doing amazing work, but again, funding is going to be an issue. And you're going to see, is it a priority for this city?
Yeah. Now, who is Wolfie? Because I don't know this.
Daryl Chambers.
Daryl Chambers. He runs he works with youth in regards to violence prevention. He lost his son to gun violence and used that passion and the hurt he was feeling to develop an organization focused solely on like violence prevention in the community, focused specifically with youth.
Do you think we can probably get him to come on and do a special report with him as well?
I can get Wolfie on here.
You think? Because I think that would also help the community. We have seniors, we have those who are not seniors who are constantly hearing the shots. They're constantly living through the trauma of the shootings and violence that is going on in our community. And I want to make sure that whatever information we can provide them with, let's try to provide us. Let's see if we can get him to come in and do a special report so that we can, hear some of the techniques that he's using and some of the things that some of the challenges he may be having with getting, his agenda across. I think that's going to be very, very key. As we're heating up, and we're going to talk about the mayor race and all the other races at some point in our show today, I guess the thing I want to just kind of end this segment with is talking about, is this a priority? Not so much for the current administration, because this could be a lame duck situation we're dealing with now, but is this a priority when it comes down to those candidates that you've heard, whether it be from the state, whether it be from the county, whether it be from the city the council, or is violence something that is being discussed?
Well, first off, we're still waiting for a lot of people to announce here on the local level and all throughout the state as well too. But in that, right, over these next few months, as they're announcing, as they're campaigning, I think it has to be a driving force to make sure that they're being put in the hot seat when it comes to what is your idea, your vision, your plan to deal with the violence in the city, but also a lot of other things as well too. These are the people who are going to potentially be representing us. We have to hold them accountable to what they are, why they're running and what they want, why they want our vote.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and that's going to be important. And we're going to encourage those of you who are watching us, please make sure you get registered to vote. It's going to be very critical. We see the hand that is trying to be formed. And we're not going to really sit back and tolerate it, but we're going to need your support. We're going to need your help to make sure that you and all of your family are voting. Because if not, then we're going to find ourselves deeper. And your interest has to come to the front. And right now, I think the number one interest in our city has to be, especially in the Black and brown community, is the level of violence that we are experiencing and having to live through without there being any services that will help us to do to get through what we're going through. I think that's all we're going to share on this one. Is there anything else that we need to share in this area?
That's all I have.
We're going to take a quick commercial break and we're going to come right back with Shané's Scoop. We'll be right back.
Tune in at 8 a.m. every Sunday for our worship services. Join us at 9 a.m. on YouTube and Facebook Live by typing Zion Fair Baptist Church. We are Wilmington's most exciting church. Join us at 9 a.m. on YouTube every Sunday by typing Zion Fair Baptist Church.
Oh my God, help me today. Which means every storm is a school. Every trial is a teacher. Every experience is an education. And every difficulty is development.
We are Wilmington's most exciting church.
The Delaware Mortgage Relief Program can help homeowners in need. Created by the Delaware State Housing Authority, this grant program provides each eligible household with up to $50,000 in mortgage relief assistance. This money can be used for future or delinquent mortgage payments, property taxes, homeowners association fees, or insurance fees. Funding is limited. Apply today. Visit online or call 888-303-4324 for more information about the Delaware Mortgage Relief Program.
And we're back. Well, what's going on with Shané Scoop this week?
Yes. I know last week we were talking about the mayor's race, so we know that we had announcements from Mayor Mike Pizicki that he is not running in 2024. Yeah. Good riddance. He said it was an age factor. He can go, put it in paperwork in the day to leave. That's how I feel publicly. Okay.
We wish you well and we wish you good health, but I
wish him
your
good
position.
health. He can go. He needs to go home and rest.
Okay, and
go
rest.
home, rest.
Okay.
Go take
the resting
care of
home,
yourself.
And the old folks used to call it the resting home. Okay, I understand. All right.
Yeah, go. And then in the same day, we had an announcement, a soft announcement stating that John Carney is interested in running for the mayor's race. That was strategic. I want people to know that was not by coincidence. Yeah. That was not an accident. We already knew for a few months now that Governor Carney is thinking about and will be in the mayor's race very soon, announcing that. We know that is going to happen. And for me, they really sat around the table and decided that Governor Carney, a governor, is going to run for the mayor of Wilmington. And that shows a few things. That shows how desperate they are. One, they're desperate to me. At this point, they're going to pick anybody they can to try to keep the oppressive, restrictive dictatorship that they have going. And then two, and the power and resources only to one group. And then two, it shows for me that that's how powerful Wilmington is, that they want to have that much control, that they would have a governor step down and run for a mayor of a city. That's how powerful Wilmington is. Like, Wilmington has so much power. We drive the economics for the city, right? We could be a strong legislative branch, right? For two reasons we could be. One, because of the people, and two, if we were to reform the structure of our government, because the structure alone allows for the legislative branch to be weak and hard to be able to pass legislation because of how the powers and how the code is written, right? So those two things are an issue or problem for me. So we have Governor Carney running, and I am clearly against it. I do not want Governor Carney to announce that he's going to run, and he is, and I hope people see what this means and how they're connected.
Yeah, and let me just jump in real quick and say, first, you're more the history buff. Have there ever been a governor that maybe those of you who are watching this can send me the information.
You don't got to be.
But have there ever been a governor that you're aware of who went from governor to mayor?
You don't got to be history buff for that. No.
Okay, but then the next question I wanted to ask is, I did read the soft announcement where I'm considering he's gonna have a conversation with his wife. My question then is, what roles did he play in the city before going to becoming? I guess he ran against Jack Markell. I remember that. That's when I came into the city.
He started out, I believe, under Senator Biden's office, and then moved over to Carper's. Then became Carper's finance secretary. Okay. Then became lieutenant governor. Then Congress. Then governor.
Okay. Okay. Did you follow that? Let's say that again. He started out. That wasn't my question.
Right.
But where in the city was their service? That's what I want to know first. Because if there is such a great interest, a great love for the city of Wilmington, why was it jumped over and there was no service at all served? City council, city's mayor, a county, rep or whatever. I just don't understand it. It just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I don't have any big problems with Governor Carney, but the real issue is running for mayor. It's a soft answer, a soft announcement, I guess you would call it. But it's going to happen, and if it happens, where in the world, how would that look? What is that even about? And Shané, it goes back to what you just shared. It was somebody sat around the table and said we have to maintain power. And the only way we can maintain power is that we use a well-recognized name. Because people of color, they don't vote. And if they do, whatever chicken sandwich that was given to them, that's what they remember. But we have to be very careful. We have to be very careful. So how many people we got announced already for mayor?
So we currently only have one official announcement,
Okay.
Which is Velda Potter. Velda Potter is, she previously served on government as the treasurer and has a track record in regards to the work that she was able to do. And she challenged Mayor. She was under Mayor Mike Przicki, and she challenged a lot of money, budget stuff to the mayor. So what I like about her is that she wasn't scared to speak up against someone, and he tried to exert control and power over her and couldn't, right? So that's what I like about her. I like anyone who's going to speak up and challenge systems and not be complicit and sit in it and be a part of it, right? And she did that. So that's why I am in support as of today for Velda Potter. And I'm also excited she has the credentials, she has the background, she has everything for that, and that she will be the first Black woman mayor in the city of Wilmington. We have not had that yet. So those are the things that I'm excited for. And then she's also open to progress and change, right? There are some people who want to maintain. I am looking for progress and change. Wilmington has so much potential. I talk to other city council, state representatives across the nation, right? And they're doing great things, right? It's possible. The things that I'm recommending or putting up for legislation, these are not things that haven't been done already or that can't be done. These things are happening in other states and other cities, as I have friends and colleagues who serve across the country in different elected seats. So that's the frustrating part for me. So I know that, and Velda would be open. Ms. Potter would be open to those things. So that's why I'm in support, like from day one.
Well,
right?
then the question is making sure, because whenever you're dealing with a female and an African American, people think about the mistakes that a person have made way more than their competency and their credibility.
Yeah, because she's Black and woman.
So I'm hoping that maybe you can do a special report with her.
Okay.
That maybe she can talk about not, some whatever rumor could be, but the facts of her competency.
Right. And it's so sad that she even has to do that.
Yeah, it is.
Because being Black and woman in politics in this world, it is so hard and challenging. The fact that you have to continuously prove yourself. And then I'm considered the youngest one, so I'm faced with all three of those things, right? When I know I'm more competent, I know I'm more educated and researched than most of those people who are even in any seat on city council or even in some state seats, right? But I constantly have to prove myself because I'm Black and woman that I'm even competent or capable of doing the position. When I walk into a room and I know that I know more than the people sitting at the table than me. That's sad that we even have to do that, but I'll do a special report with her.
I think what that will do is it will help those who don't really know, because in that seat she sat in as the treasurer for the city of Wilmington, she did some very powerful stuff.
Yes,
she did some very powerful stuff, and I'm just going to be honest. She did some very powerful stuff in that seat, and I think people need to know. They need to hear her and they need to see her. So if you can grab that, I'll give you 2 assignments in one show today with both of those individuals.
Yeah,
I think that would be good, because it's time to inform our community and let them make sound decisions, not based on emotions, not based on recognition, but based on the facts. And I think that's going to be very, very critical. I'm sorry, I jumped in and took over your little segment. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. And that even goes into a few other things about council transparency and public participation. So last week we talked about there are a few things like, forget the personalities on city council, right? That makes it difficult. Just the structure of how city council is in regards to the state, in regards to the executive branch, in regards to only having 2 branches, like the whole thing. It makes it difficult just by the structure to be an effective city council. So one, city council, most of them don't read legislation. Let's just keep it 100. A lot of them don't even read legislation. However, someone like me, in our council rules, it states that 7 days prior to a meeting, they're going to post the agenda, right? So when I thought when they post the agenda, naturally the legislation would be there, right? In my 2.5 years, almost every single month, every single week, I'm texting my staff, Oh, where's the legislation? Sometimes they don't give you the legislation until you're about to walk into the meeting. Oh, wow. How does that allow for me to be an effective city council person to be prepared, right? This is not a one-off thing like it happened one time. This is a thing that happens over and over. And when there's a resolution, they can put it on a city council meeting the day of, right? Not allowing you time to participate, not allowing me time to be an effective city council, because we have to remember city council is part-time. Right. I have to work full-time just to be a city council person because of the pay and because it's considered part-time, right? I'm not sitting in my office waiting for constituents to reach out to me, right? That is not my role. I'm not on the state level where they pay a decent wage where you're able to at least maneuver things with your finances and hopefully maybe just do that. But I have to have another job. All of us on city council does. So it makes it hard to be efficient when there's systems like that in play that doesn't allow for legislation to be available before you even get on the floor sometimes. So that is the frustrating part for me. So I needed 9 people to say yes. I only think I got like 6 votes to say yes to changing that. So some people fought back against it. And then there were city council people like Councilmember Oliver and Councilmember Fields who were making up narratives. And that's another thing that I don't like that a lot of people do. Don't make up narratives about what I'm saying. You don't know me. You don't know my intentions. My intentions was never that. So they try to say something about staff and staff is doing the best they can. I never said anything about the effectiveness of our staff. I am saying legislation should be in a form that we can read to understand. You know how many people the community reaches out to me and say, where's the legislation, Councilmember Darby? I don't know, let me check. Legislation not available. The community wants to participate, right? And then the second part of a council rule that I was trying to look at is public participation in regards to public comment. So last session prior to when I was on there you had, I want to say, almost 2 opportunities to give public comment, right? So in the beginning, you were able to do your 3-minute public comment, right? But then Councilmember Linda Gray passed in the rules last session that you're also able to make another comment to legislation while it's happening on council. So if I present something on lead legislation, I was just talking about my lead legislation on lead, then people, the community would then have a time to comment specifically about my lead legislation, giving council different perspective, being able for the community to participate, because we argue there's no participation, but we don't give people ways to participate, right? So when I look back at city council that night, there's one person there, Mr. Tony Dunn from my district, right? He was the only one there. Right, so and we complain about people not participating, but we're not allowing it. Trippy and I, or council president, and I were the only people to say yes to that piece of legislation to allow people more time for public comment. Their argument was they don't want to be here late. They don't. We do city council meetings twice a month, right? And I remember Herman Holloway told me they used to have council meetings weekly, right? Back in the day, before I was born, like back in the day. So I don't know how true it is, but that's what he told me,
Mr.
right?
Herman, I didn't say that, she said that.
Like back in the day, there were weekly council meetings, and you're complaining about twice a month being there late, and then somebody going to try to throw in their single moms, and out of everybody on city council, I can speak to being a single mom.
Now, was that an open forum or was it a private conversation?
It was open forum at the city council.
So they said that publicly? I hope we can find the footage on that.
They said that publicly. And then to throw the single parent thing in there, out of everybody on city council, I can speak more to being a single parent than anybody sitting here. I'm living it right now, right? So I know city council meetings, I was elected by the people. So I know for city council meetings, I have to make arrangements for my kids. Point blank, period. Like I have to do that. I might be missing out on events, on different things happening, birthday parties going on in my family, whatever is happening that night. I know I'm missing it because I made a commitment, unless I get excused early on, like it's something that I really can't miss. Other than that, you make those sacrifices. So they're concerned about staying late, and that's a problem for me. And it's just
especially when it
unacceptable.
comes down to public being able to get their questions addressed so that they can make sure they are voting or they're engaging in their community.
And then the second argument was they can go to committee meetings. Committee meetings are at 5 p.m. and they talking about single parenting. 5 p.m. is tough, okay? 5 p.m. is pick up, drop off, and getting off of work. So that's what made the argument so minute. Like y'all talking about single parenting, this 5 o'clock is hard for a lot of people. A lot of people are getting off work to participate in city council, is hard. Why aren't we making it easier for people? And then when people do want to participate, they don't got the legislation. So it's just like being on this city council is so frustrating because people want things to stay the same. They don't want to see new things happen. We have to get with the times. We are the city of Wilmington. We are the largest city in the state. We should be progressing. We should be setting the stage. We should be setting the standard. We should be being innovative, coming up with new ideas, and we're not. We're stagnant and it's full of
But one of the things, one of the reasons why I was hoping that you continue to say what you were sharing is because that's one of the things I've tried to encourage you, because you were saying, it's just frustrating. It's frustrating. A part of the system is to frustrate those who want to do better, who want to see better. So you're going to have to find a way to make sure that you don't get so frustrated that you give up. Your constituents, they appreciate you. They keep voting you in. And I know you can say, well, they voted the other ones in as well, but I'm not too sure if some people are there just because people just have apathy.
Yeah, no, some people didn't have a challenger, right? Or they didn't have someone who was a good challenger to really challenge them. So some of them are just in because they were the only option.
So your job has to be to save the city. If you're going to be our Rosa Parks of Wilmington, your job has to be is not to be frustrated, but you got to find people who can run in different places and try to get them elected so that we can have the city council that could really be progressive and not run away. Because you run away, you're going to still be living here. And you're going to get even more frustrated.
I'm moving.
You ain't moving nowhere.
I'm going to Kansas City.
With Dorothy.
I'm leaving.
She's going with Dorothy to Kansas City.
Yeah, I met Kansas City council people over there. They over there making moves. They doing great things.
And we can too, and we will. But it's going to take an effort of all to be able to say, you know what, we're going to be able to do better. Go ahead, you had some more items. I want to make sure you get a chance.
Yeah, and then the residency requirement. So the same day the mayor made an announcement about him not running, he also announced to city council that there's no residency on the books now, that his interpretation of the law is that there's no residency right now, so they're going to begin to hire people with no residency clause. So let me back up for a second. So there was a piece of legislation from state sponsored by Bud Frill, the time that he was in for like a year, when there was a vacancy with the other guy who was still in that ShopRite, like whatever his name was. I forgot his name. But
Gerald Brady. I couldn't remember that fast.
So Bud Frill, took over his spot for a little bit. They did the Democratic Party did that special election. They get to select who they want. Whole nother problem. But then Bud Frill was in that position. And Bud Frill was a part of that good old boy system with John Carney, with Mike Przicki and all of them. So the mayor administration was able to get Bud Frill to put up legislation about giving city council home rule for residency requirement. Now, my problem isn't giving city council home rule, because I actually think that's part of the structure and problem is that city council does not have home rule over certain things that other city councils do in other parts of the country, right? We're very restricted that we have to go through the state for a lot of changes, right? So that's a problem in itself, because now you're asking a part-time legislator I got to advocate between these people, and now you're asking me to go on state and be a lobbyist, right? Just to get things passed for the city of Wilmington. It's just not a fair, just system. But in that, you have, with the residency, Bud Frill passed the residency, gave city council home rule. Great. However, the problem is the intentions and who was behind it. Mayor Mike Przicki, his intentions the whole time is he does not believe that we need residency. He wants to hire whoever he wants to hire to work for the city, right? And I think that's problematic. I think it's like a slap in the face to a lot of residents, right? One, that he doesn't think there's talent within our pool of people who are capable of doing the jobs at the city. I think the city could do a better job at advertising their jobs, right? And really being able to provide the citizens with the skills that they need to be able to even do some of the jobs, right? There's so many different things they can do. You have Mayor Mike Przicki, who parades around HBCU week, encourage black kids to go to HBCUs, and then they come back here, they don't have an opportunity, or they don't have there's no residency. Now they come back here to live, now they don't get preference for the job. Right? So to me, it's like, it's contradicting itself. Like, you're encouraging our kids to go to school, go to HBCUs, but where are the jobs when they come back? Right? What does that even look like? And we're not creating that sustainability line of the employment track after someone leaves from college, which is really hard. Graduating from college, most people, some of them go back working at Target, right? It's it's a real thing. Like some people don't get into their degree or profession because just of the job playing field of how it is getting back out into the world after college. So that was my issue with residency. So now what happened, he said there's a no residency requirement, that his interpretation of the law says that, right? So for me, this is like another example of how he's a bully and a dictator. So he's basically telling us that he's going to do what he wants to do with residency requirements, and that city council needs to either let him do what he wants to do, or we need to come up with a piece of legislation to figure out what we want to do with residency. And interpretation is subjective, and he just went through with what he wanted. So now the problem is I got a call that there are 7 people on city council who's in agreement with the mayor, and we're just going to get rid of the no residency requirement. Right? So at city council, we'll probably, by the time this is aired, you'll see that city council, there are 7 people who's going to vote to get rid of no residency. No residency is so key and important, especially for our police force, for our fire department, for our department heads. Like a lot of people, like especially Wilmington, understanding the historical context of it, of how it's constantly being oppressed and restricted in regards to the power that it has for decades, right? And prior to even, and especially when it became an all-black city council, you see more restrictive and more things of suppressing and downplaying and not respecting city council here once it became mostly all black. Yeah. You see those. So this is another strategic power to make the legislative branch weak, to make a strong executive branch, and to not believe in the citizens. And we stop them from public comment. We don't want them to have legislation ahead of time, and we're not willing to hire them first.
Wow. It's a whole lot going on. I understand your frustration, and that's why, I'm sure at the right time this will be handled. But I want to keep giving you this outlet to be able to continue to share, especially that residency piece. There's some questions I have, but we're running out of time, so I want you to go into your gala.
Yeah. So just from city council to my Black Mother in Power hat. So I have run a nonprofit, founder of it, where we focus on addressing infant mortality rates here in the state of Delaware, specifically for Black families. Black women, despite social economic status, we can't degree our way out of this. We can't marry our way out of this. Despite any of those factors, our babies and I are 2 to 3 times more likely to die, right? Or have high risk in the pregnancy and postpartum period. So October is our anniversary. So every October, we're having a dinner, a fundraiser gala to bring people together to talk about this issue and to kind of celebrate the accomplishments that we're doing in the state of Delaware around Black maternal health care. One big accomplishment that I'm going to hit on is that we were able to get legislation passed where Medicaid will reimburse for doula services, right? So a doula, for people who don't know, they're non-medical and they provide emotional support and a spiritual, all types of support to the mom and to the family, to that birthing person, allowing them to have, by research shows that they have more positive outcomes when you have a doula with you, and especially Black women on all social economic statuses. So we were able to get that passed so doulas can get reimbursed and paid for the work they're doing, and our community can get served without having to figure out how I'm gonna pay for a doula, because a doula can cost $1,000 plus. Wow. So the gala is October 26th. If you go to blackmothersempower.org, you can get a ticket, you can donate, you can support, you want to volunteer. The tickets are $100.
Okay, now give me the date again.
October 26th.
It's October 26th, which is another week
About a week away, yep.
Yeah, and how do I get those tickets?
So you can go to blackmothersempower.org, and then you'll see BMIP Gala on the top. Click there. You could donate. You could be a sponsor, or you can get a ticket if you can come.
Yeah. You have a flyer?
Yeah. I do have a flyer.
Can we get the flyer up?
We're going to put the flyer up right now, if you don't mind. We're going to allow you to see the flyer. Again, if you are interested in going to the gala on October the 25th, you should please go to her website. Give me the website one more time. It's up. But give it to me.
blackmothersempower.org.
Okay. And I hope that you will be able to support, and we're going to see what we can do to make sure that we're supporting as well. I think y'all doing an amazing job. Keep up the work. We'll be right back.
New guests, new conversations, new stories. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. Grab your cup of coffee and tune in with Dr. Curry for weekly episodes of Coffee with Curry.
One time for the great Nipsey Hussle. One time for Malcolm, Martin, and Marcus. One time for all ancestors that put their lives on the line so that we as a people may rise. To all the brothers on the front line, lifting and elevating the people in the midst of mysticism and tyranny. We recognize the conditions of our people, but we also recognize what lies beneath the surface at the root of the condition of our people. Any tree that is malnourished has not the ability to flourish. We come with the nourishment. From the likes of Larry Hoover to Bayard Rustin, from Patrice Lumumba, Muhammad Ali to the great Sam Cooke, from Demetrius Flannery to Mutulu Shakur, black man with great ideas, visionaries that can help elevate our people for years. The sons of Harriet have returned. Black man live, black man strive, and black man prosper. Black man grow, black man plot, black man transform to meet this crazy moment and the next ones that lie ahead. Now ain't the time to back down, it's time to stand up. There is a war going on us. We need warriors, we need warriors, we need intellects, we need thinkers, we need architects, we need farmers, we need doctors, we need planners, we need lawyers. We need brothers that's willing to unite and come together for the common thread of what's right. Not for clout, not for likes, for the love of the people. You either build or destroy. Black man build, let's construct.
And we're back. Well, Brother Kobe, what's going on? You were away last week.
I was out in St. Louis, had an amazing time out there. Was talking to some people about the amazing barbecue that's out there.
Oh, wow.
Recommend everyone go get the ribs, go get the burnt ends.
And you said St. Louis?
In St. Louis.
Okay. All right.
Got to tour the city, got to learn about some of the history out there and what they're doing out there when it comes to housing as well. So it was really good. But I want to start off because some crazy stuff has happened in this last week on the national level.
Yeah.
And I think everyone's heard that for the first time in history, a motion to vacate the chair of Speaker of the House, U.S. Speaker of the House, was not only introduced, but it was passed. Yeah. It was passed by a vote of 216 to 210, pretty much eliminating and taking away the speakership gavel from Kevin McCarthy, who's from California. It was introduced by Matt Gaetz from Florida, and there was 8 Republicans who joined the Democrats to vote him out. And those 8.
But can I correct you? I'm going to correct you because I've been hearing this on CNN. I've been reading it. I disagree. The 210 Democrats.
No, Republicans.
How many Democrats voted? They voted for somebody else, didn't they?
208. They didn't vote for anyone else. It's either you vote yes to vacate or no to vacate. Now they go into the next stage.
So is that why they're saying the Democrats and Matt Gaetz put him out? Well, I don't know why they were trying to blame it. It wasn't Democrats. They did this.
Right. They said they weren't going to, come and save him and everything.
Yeah, well, he lied. He did a couple of things that was crazy.
So now we're at the point that we have no speaker. We can't get anything done in the U.S. House until we have a speaker.
Yeah.
So this is when, like last time, it was 15 rounds it took to elect Kevin McCarthy. Democrats vote for their own. They caucus.
I think that's going to change. What do you think?
No, I think they're going to stick together. They're going to vote for Hakeem Jeffries to be speaker.
No, that's crazy. That's a little. Wait, whoa. For those of you watching us right now, forgive us for being on this national level, but it doesn't make sense to me. Right now, the best of the two evils won. Mm-hmm. Okay, because both of them are but Jordan is he's just way aloof. So
he lost his nomination.
Right.
So Steve Scalise, who I view is just as worse, right?
You think so?
He compared himself to be the David Dukes without the baggage.
Oh, Jesus.
He actually
I'm
won the
joining your party.
nomination for the Republicans to be nominated
Right.
for Speaker, but he has his own internal issues he's trying to deal with. He may not even get to the 217 that's needed for him to become Speaker.
Right.
So then there may be a third person who emerges who may be elected Speaker. Now, this isn't the first time this has happened. Back in 2015, Kevin McCarthy was trying to become Speaker. He couldn't get the votes. And that's how Paul Ryan ended up becoming Speaker and leaving the Ways and Means Committee. So there may be a third person who gets thrown into that who may be able to get to 217. Who knows? It's chaotic. But all the work has frozen for the U.S. House. This is a critical time because we just talked about just avoiding a government shutdown, right? A government shutdown that's going to affect our military, our veterans, hundreds of thousands of government employees may be furloughed, let go, or whatsoever. So again, this is the work that's not being done right now, and that's because there's chaos in the U.S. House. I see why our Congresswoman is ready to go over to the other chamber in the U.S. Senate. But that is the craziness that is going on right now when they're supposed to actually be working on behalf of the American people. Next, I want to talk about the ongoing litigation when it comes to both Alabama and South Carolina. So in Alabama, the maps have been finalized and been announced to the public, creating a second African-American majority district in the state of Alabama. It pretty much what it does is connects Mobile, Alabama to the Black Belt. And then the other district, District 7, which is already majority Black, it just encompasses more of Birmingham, Alabama, into the overall district. So that's a good win down there. Now, oral arguments just wrapped up earlier this week for South Carolina. So the argument is in Alexander versus South Carolina NAACP, the argument is that they removed over 30,000 African Americans from District 1, which was a swing district, now currently represented by Nancy Mace, that they removed them and put them into District 6, the district that is represented by Jim Clyburn, in order to super PAC that district, and that it violates both the 14th and 15th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. The legal team that's working on this, and I just really want to highlight them, is the Legal Defense Fund, the ACLU, the ACLU of South Carolina, and on the national level in this group, Arnold and Porter law firm. They are a international law firm. Excuse me, I said national earlier. They are an international law firm who has a long history of helping take on civil rights cases like this, and class action suits as well too. So again, I just really want to highlight them in this movement and the work that they're doing for this. Again, back in January, after an 8-day trial, there was a unanimous 3-judge decision to redraw the 2022 congressional map down in South Carolina. This is going to be the first for the seat. So it's going to be a lot going on. Again, I implore everyone to please look up that race and pay attention to who's running in it and what they truly stand for and what they're willing to fight for you.
Yes.
But I know we're tight on time, so I wanted to move forward with things.
Well, before you move forward, whenever I take up some of your time, I always try to make sure we get some more time. But you weren't here last week, and we talked a little bit about the governor's race.
Yes.
Where one of the candidates had to pull out, or no, she didn't pull out. She just I guess suspended some of her fundraisers or things of that nature. What do you know about that?
Yeah, so an announcement came out that our current lieutenant governor, who's running for governor, is calling for an audit of her campaign finances.
She's doing it or somebody else?
She's the one who called for it and brought the firm in to do the audit on her finances. But while that audit is happening, she has decided to pause all her financial events, so any fundraising events. Until that audit comes out. This has led to, a lot of speculation on what's truly going on there. Again, I know there was a meeting amongst both chambers from leadership to kind of tell them to hold off a little bit and wait to see what's going on as well too. But since then, I think you look at, there has been endorsements to her opponent, or who is our current county exec, Matt Meyer, as well as he is still very much fundraising during this time period as well too. Now for Delaware, we don't follow the same schedule when it comes to the reporting scale. Right. So their nets, any state candidate, states, county, local, their next reporting deadline isn't until after the new year. Okay. It's the end of the year report, the end of the year 2023 report.
When do you think her audit is this a independent audit, or is this a since she called it, when do you think that report is going to be out?
That I don't know. So it depends how many honestly how big of a caseload it is for them. I don't know what her campaign finances are looking like. I don't know how much money she's raised, but they kind of go back and verify everything through that audit as well too.
Because what's scaring me is that she some of her key people resigned, yes, which means something is not right.
So her campaign manager and fundraising consultant have both stepped down from the campaign. They had joined on for the governor campaign. They have both been replaced, and her advisor committee has been replaced as well too.
Okay, I'm sorry. You can go ahead.
No, and I think that's something, as you go forward through this, pay attention to things like that. The governor race is going, this is the face of Delaware politics is going to change, right? This is the most open seats that we have ever had in the history of Delaware, from our U.S. Senate, U.S. House, governor, lieutenant governor, mayor, county exec, county council president. They are all open right now. These are some of the most powerful seats in the state of Delaware. So when you talk about what direction Delaware is going to go in afterwards, it's going to be decided in 2024. And it's going to have a very long-lasting impact on the state and where we go with things. We are dealing with a plethora of things, right? Yes, marijuana just passed, but still there is setting up those who's getting the licenses? Is it going to be equitable? Where's that money that's going to go into that, the social justice fund? Where is that going to be distributed? Who's going to oversee all that? When you look at what's going on currently right now, just a few shows ago, we talked about HB 125, right? Okay. The Universal Free Breakfast and Lunch Bill, right? So that has a close to $30 million fiscal note on it. We have reserves that we can use to pit towards that. USDA actually just changed the threshold for schools that qualify from that from 40% to 25%. And that's going to have a huge impact on that fiscal note as well too. The state already, and again, the $30 million seems really huge, but the state already reimburses almost $19 million of that, right? So you're only adding about another $11 million onto that. So it's not really a huge increase in the grand scheme of things. But is the next governor, who's going to support that? Who's not, right? Who's going to support creating more affordable housing, right? And helping really stemline the crisis try to stemline a solution to the crisis we have here going on right now. you also have other things. You have this Climate Solutions Act, right, that just passed. Are they going to hold these corporations who've for years been polluting Black and brown communities across the state? Are they going to hold them accountable, or are they going to cave to them, right? Are they going to strengthen worker rights here in Delaware, right? There's been good steps, but there's still a lot more to do. So what is going to truly happen? And that's what, these elections, they matter. Who gets elected matters. So I implore everyone to please, please, please do your research, follow along with the campaigns. And honestly, we should probably host, some public forums to give the public the opportunity to ask these questions themselves. What matters most to them?
Absolutely. And I think that's going to be a point. That's one of the reasons why I want to do these special reports where we're going to just bring people in and we're going to have to ask questions whether we support them or not.
Right.
We're going to have to ask the questions, where are you on this, that, or the other? This will be important. That's why it's important that you get registered to vote as well.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
So the last thing, more fun, but I just wanted to highlight that on October 31st, we are bringing our haunted house to the POW. It's going to be a safe place for the kids to come. We had about 160 kids come last year. We are, if you have ideas, please let us know on what we went in there. We have this amazing staffer who she goes all out. She has so much fun. Turning our entire upstairs into a huge haunted house. I think it's funny because some of the kids who act the toughest, they be coming out of there in tears sometimes, but it's all in good fun.
I would be one of those.
It's all in good fun. But again, that's at the POW. It starts at 6 p.m. and goes until 8 p.m. And again, bring your family out there. There'll be a ton of candy, a ton of fun and games and stuff like that. But yeah, things are... it's one of my favorite times, so definitely come on out.
I don't know everybody who's on the board at Powell, but I want to say hats off to the Powell Center now. I know that under Theo Gregory, when it was first originally started, he had great aspirations and hopes and dreams for, and I give credit to where credit is due. Along the way, things went astray, but for the last year or two, it has really turned around. I mean, I've gone in there and was shocked.
Yeah, shout out to the director, Pernell.
Yes, matter of fact, and that's what I was really leading to, and that's true.
Yeah.
Because but I hear you saying things like that. It's refreshing.
Yeah,
this is what the Powell Centers
should be doing.
So, in 2019, we had a transition in leadership, which who he was our former programs director, but became our executive director, Chris Burnell, and he comes from the education background.
Okay.
When it comes to just engaging with youth, he's one of the best out there. He understands what they want to see, and he has a huge heart and a huge vision. And he has brought in board members who kind of share that vision as well too. And while it's happening slowly, right? Of course, we're fighting for every dollar that we possibly can to get in there. He is doing everything he possibly can with every little dollar we have. And he is moving us forward in a great way. We have an amazing leadership team overall. So I want to give a shout out to our deputy director, Kenneth Harris, our early child care center director, Roxanne Coleman, and our entire staff who are, really, really excited for what's going on. We had a small rebrand, so we have a mascot now. We're called the Powell Panthers.
All right.
A new logo coming out and everything. So again, they are doing great work. We just had our golf tournament earlier in September, and then we're having our first ever Building a Brighter Futures brunch in March of next year. So we're super excited about the planning of that as well too. And again, looking for community input for that as well too. So if things are going well, we brought back our basketball team. We're in the basketball league now. We're bringing more sports. We're trying to find funding to bring even more activities and introduce them. We're looking to build an aquatic center as well too.
Oh, wow.
So things that traditionally aren't in the Black community, we are trying to bring in. Councilwoman Darby has even suggested gymnastics. We're trying to find money for that as well too, to give our kids the actual opportunity to learn sports outside of the just traditional football, basketball, cheerleading and stuff like that. So, we're
is great.
but
we're looking for it. So
yeah, and that's why you can't go nowhere. See that? See, it all comes together. But you know what? The Dr. King said something. I'm not quoting exact words, but this is the heart of what he said. He said the only thing for evil to continue is for good people to say nothing and do nothing. When you are doing something, it takes a long time sometimes to get to where we need to go. But we got to stay encouraged and we got to stay motivated. We got to stay, keep our focus on the purpose for why we do what we do. And that's what I want to continue to encourage those two of you who are in the public. I'm in the public as a pastor, and that's a totally different ball game. But in the public, fighting for people's rights and trying to get people to understand that humanity matters. Mm-hmm. I watch on TV now. We didn't really do any talking on the whole thing that's going on in Israel right now, and we will get to that at some point. But with the children being killed and beheaded, there's a spin to that we who are part of the Black and brown community can say this is not strange. Because we have lived through stuff like that in not so much in America, but in other places. And I think that when you are fighting for people's rights, when you're trying to get people to understand that you can't enrich yourself, it puts you out on an island. And that's why I always try to motivate and encourage those brothers and sisters who are younger than I am to say, you know what, you will get there, we will get there. But it's going to take some time, it's going to take some patience, and it's going to take you being persistent. Because when you give up, they win. Well, that's all the time we have today, and I'm sorry we didn't get to all of the things that we wanted to talk about. I hope you enjoyed the show. Brother Kobe, is there anything else on your plate today?
Nothing else on my plate.
Okay, and Sister Darby, anything else on your plate?
Nothing at all.
All right, for those of you who watch us every week and you give our co-hosts the compliments that you all give them for all the things that they bring to you, we appreciate that so very much, and I hope that you continue to watch us. Tell somebody, go to YouTube, East Zion Fair Baptist Church, and view these shows, because at the end of the day, we're trying to make sure that you are informed. Until the next time, this is Dr. Curry.
This is Kobe Owens.
Shané Darby.
See ya.
Take care, y'all.
Talk soon.